Mm-hmm.
We're on. I believe after doing this with Darryl for Ranting and Racing that we should be live. I'm going to take off these so you don't have the old... Oh, God, that's hideous. The old glare. But, Jamie, you're back on the channel after a sabbatical, a career break, some sort of maternity leave when you went over to some other channels, Cheltenham Exchange. How the devil are you? You have a good Cheltenham, Aintree? The viewers need to know.
I'm not left on the Ranting and Racing, so this is for all the viewers out there. I'm not left, so... Carter and Young don't leave me on. So this for all the Cheltenham Exchange boys. How are you? All Ginger Joe's crowd. How are you?
But seriously, you had a good Cheltenham, you had a good Aintree, because I know people might have found out from reviews on there, but lots of people in the comments were asking for Jamie. They like your opinion, they like you. So how you been getting on? Good couple of festivals?
Cheltenham was good, Dave. Yeah, I had a very good entry for some reason or another. The Friday of entry was a great day. I will say that. Backed him under the National. Backed him. Oof, I think it was like the first week of December. I got him at 25-1 on the boost. I was happy with that. I backed him out 6 times. I think I backed him 25, 16s, 10s. I backed him out 3 or 4 times. Well, three times. Sorry, on the day. So I was very happy with that.
Cool, happy days. Well, that's the gloating out of the way. Punchestown, you excited for it? The home festival, the big one?
Yeah, today wasn't too bad. A few outsiders, right? I backed up by Ely Stocker, right? I was happy with that. But you know yourself, Dave, stupid muggy doubles and trebles and all that crap because of winning ones of horses. But sure, that's the way it goes.
Absolutely. So I'm just as a question, right? Dublin Race Festival is an absolute beast. I get really excited about Punchestown, end of the season stuff, and I still do think it is the best racing festival in Ireland. Would you agree? Do you think it's the best one?
No.
Do you think it's because it's end of season and there's a few horses like big names that miss?
No. I think it's too long, Dave. I think it's too long for the end of the season. 5 days is. I think you could shorten all that to 3 or 4. But I suppose they're going with the foundations of racing really with those banks races and all that crack and like all those series finals. They have to do it because there's amount of people buying horses for less than a certain quota. No, the Dublin race fella is streets ahead of it. Streets ahead of it.
Beautiful.
Streets ahead of it.
Well,
It's the best.
Dublin Race Festival is the nuts in it. But Punchestown's exciting. Did all right today. Put up 3 bets yesterday or on the channel yesterday. Faronna Lee went in and got it done. Night and Day was semi-annoying because she's actually finished the race off all right. Just probably, I don't know, maybe she's a year too soon or something. For Wednesday, me and Darryl did chat on Ranting and Racing, which you've already touched on. I mentioned a few that I could be interested in. I have just published a video saying what my bets are for tomorrow. So shall we skim through when I say skim, take as long as you want, but don't take too long. We'll skim through Wednesday. We'll say the races that we have some sort of fancy, and I'll note my bets, and then we will be doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, hopefully. I know we haven't got the final decks for those, so we may do something again, but we'll just see how much we can get done this evening. I'm going to share up the Racing Post site as well, just for some sort of visual addition, and it just to show about the fact that we are on StreamYard. Oh yeah, look at that. Bit of Punchestown, bit of tomorrow. So where's the first race you want to kick off, Matt? Are you getting stuck into the 95 to 123 rated series final, or should we jump into the?
I do fancy one here. Here,
what the
Dave.
first?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
How far have I got to run down the market to get it on the screen?
It's just unoriginal. I think I fancy one horse in here, and it's Le Mans Maison. What is it there? 92. I see it there on your screen. Won at Cork on debut, as far as I can remember now. Before I'm not even going to look at anything in my head or on the phone underneath me. He won at Cork, and then he was 5th in a race. He pulled too hard, and then he was 2nd the last day at Punchestown to Saffaror, and Saffaror then went on to win I think it was a listed race at Thurles afterwards. Now went stupid price for the Carl Cup, and I never found he was too inexperienced for the Carl Cup. I thought I backed Le Mans Maison that day to beat Saffaror. I thought the jockey gave him an awful right. A few friends of mine now are cribbing now the jockey Kieran Buckley, but we'll say no more about him. But I think there's a cracking chance. Remember, we backed it. I tipped unanswered in the November meeting at Cheltenham. It's been to the well enough, Dave, this year, to be honest with you. But I think very unoriginal. Wouldn't be having the greatest bet in the world in it, but I think this Le Mans Maison could be ahead of these anyway.
Superb. Right, I've taken the screen share off just because it makes it go real jittery and it went a bit blurry. But Laume Maison, something like that, is the winner of the opener for Jamie. Second race, I think I did touch on this with Daryl, but not because there was anything I fancied in it. It was more the fact that there was a horse in there that I don't particularly get on with. Is there one you can be betting in there?
This is the race with 3-car Bragg and Sandra Cleggan, is it?
That's the one. Any fancy in there? Any thoughts on the race?
I always said 3-car Bragg didn't stay 3 miles, Dave. I thought Sandra Cleggan was the unlucky loser of the Arbor Bartlett. If you watch back that race, what was Sean O'Keefe doing in the whole race? Had him out the back, out wide, and stayed on into third. I can't believe these two horses are not, to be honest, even though I'm saying 3-car Bragg doesn't say 3 miles. I can't believe Sandra Cleggan is not in the 3 mile novice. I suppose we'll get onto that later on with 3 mile novice. Sandra Cleggan 141, 3-car Bragg 138. Sandra Cleggan gets £2 off 3-car Bragg. If you look back at the win of its maiden hurl over the same course and distance, Dave, Sandra Cleggan, I would go with that ahead of 3-car Bragg. This is maybe a faster horse than 3-car Bragg, but I don't know. It's up to you. It's either or, but it would be Sandra Cleggan for me.
You're going to be like, so obviously it's mentioned in there. I've just touched on that race for the fact that it's going in chronological order. Is Sandra Cleggan going to be one that you're getting stuck into at 6-4, or it will just be a selection, or will it actually be a bet?
It'd be just a selection, Dave.
Good man. I mean, you'll have a couple of quid on, but gamble responsibly. The Louis Fitzgerald Hotel Hurdle. This is a race where I have had a bet, so I'll chuck that straight up. I've had 50 quid. So if you do it on point system, that'll be 2 points on Grange Clare West. I'm happy to sit back and let you tear me an absolute new one, but this horse has got to be better than this lot. Like, I know the last couple of runs were pretty poor, but they were probably poor in at like first look, maybe. Even when you go back to his bumper, battering Salvador Ziggy, which form looks all right now, admittedly over like longer trips for Salvador Ziggy, but still all good. The Nava Maiden Hurdle looked fairly decent, to be honest with you. It was obviously being ridden out. It looked like he needed the run after that long break. Then for him to have the little bit of a layoff before he went and run in the Lord and Ace, win it behind Champ Kylie. That race actually has worked out all right, to be fair. And they were saying that he was like struggling after the race, coughing and all that sort of stuff. So there was an excuse behind that. And I would say that the Leopardstown run at the Dublin Race Festival would have come quick enough for him. So I'm trusting that 2.5 months after, Willie Mullins knows what he's doing with him. Paul Townend's back on board. I think 2-1's a pretty decent price, given the fact that I think the other horses, like you imagine, that's rated 136, I don't think they're too far off their ceiling for this season. I know he's got a claimer on there taking £7 off, but is Danny Gilligan really worth the £7 when you compare him to a Paul Townend? I don't think he is. So yeah, all in all, I just think the Grange Clare West at 2-1's like an absolute auto bet. Although granted, we're sort of a bit speculative in the fact that you've got to go back a little while to find some good form for him. What do you make of the race? Do you think Grange Clare West, I'm right on him or wrong on him, or should I go away from him? I mean, I've already backed him. So what do you think of the race? Let's just do that.
I don't think much of the race there, to be honest. You just took the words out of my mouth. I think we were all about Grange Clare West, weren't we, at the start of the season after he's never made a hurdle win. Then I was there at Nace that day and he was coughing after the race. You can't make head or tail of his race, the Dublin Racing Festival. I don't know. To be honest, was it just a run back after a bad run? I don't know, but like, imagine, I know he's getting £7, like, you know, from like to Grange Clare because Danny Gilligan's on it, but like, surely God, to be Jordan Gainford of it, and imagine if they really wanted to win. So look, it's not a great race, but look, if he was to bounce back, would it be a shock? No, but if I was I'm not having a bet in this race, not a hope.
Yeah, which is fair enough. And this is one of these ones where it's not even necessarily just like an entry point type thing, but I just think that Grange Clare West is going to go off a lot short on this. I reckon it's going to be, well, I'd like to hope it gets support. Anyway, we'll have to find out. It is a cheap race, but at the end of the day, Cheveley Park Stud don't need any money, do they?
No,
obviously,
they don't.
It's a race that he can go and pick up and win because he hasn't finished first or second in a grade 1 or a grade 2. So maybe smart placement from Willie. Probably not. It's just an afterthought. The Irish Mirror novice hurdle after the grade 1 3 mile hurdle that you touched on a bit before. I'll let you lead with this one because I've already mentioned a horse that's running in here, Salvador Ziggy. Did go through this with Daryl yesterday. I won't be having a bet in this race, although Gaelic Warrior is the third leg of a muggy acca I did. I got him and Galopin de Champ to go after Energumene and Fassa Vega did the business today. But I got a feeling this is the sort of race you might get a little bit excited about.
Not a big Gaelic warrior, Jeff. He'll stay
That's
3
what I
miles.
think. Yeah.
He'll stay 3 miles. He's going the right way that he wants to go. He is officially what? He's £7 clear of Salvador Ziggy. He's £10 clear of Affidel Fury, who finished second in Albert Bartlett at 150 to 1. He'll just win, Dave. I think he's just streets ahead of this, and I think he'll win by a wide margin. And maybe onto the stairs hurdle maybe next year is a little bit of an outside shout, or over fences probably, but he should win this and he'll win this easy.
I like it. I like the confidence. So again, from like a pricing perspective, I know this is a grade 1, so arguably it's more competitive. Even money about him when we look at the 6-4 about Sandor Cleggan earlier. Gaelic Warrior looks an all right price, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it's a great price.
Fabulous. Right, we've got the Punchestown Gold Cup after. I've already alluded to the fact that I'll be having thousands. I won't. I'll be having a few quid rolling on to Gallopin de Champ. 200 quid the fourth I'll paid for 35 quid. Anyway, Gallopin de Champ, just crap same as far as I'm concerned. It's not like almost a non-event. But have we been here before with these types of races? You've had it where Ken Boy went and won, didn't he, for Ruby Walsh on his last ever ride. There's been a few upsets in the years. I know the likes of like Size and John that went and did the treble. Gallopin de Champ's got to be better than Size and John. Gallopin de Champ just wins, right? Anything else that's worth even talking about?
No, move on. Gallopin de Champ will win.
Oh boy. We're squeezing through Wednesday quick, aren't we? The bumper. Jesus, the quality of those back-to-back races. Grade 1 bumper. A Dream to Share obviously was good at Cheltenham. Warrants the price that it is. I even said to Daryl yesterday that I might, and I probably will, to be fair, I will probably have a couple of quid on King of Kingsfield. It will be a similar thought process as Chacon Poussoir. I mentioned that in the preview with Daryl, that it's just too big a price, and I can see him trading shorter in running, so you can back him, you can lay him to run risk-free, which is what I did with Chacon, stupidly. Traded at 1.17, didn't we? I've had 50 quid on him at 40s. I know, 36, I think, and then I've laid him at 26. So I've got a free roll for 500 quid, and I never put a low in running lane. So there's your tipping, isn't there? But King of Kingsford, I'm going to have a token selection on, just because I don't know much about this Tully Hill. Obviously, it's Patrick and Woody, so it's got to have a chance in it. It's, for me, did disappoint at Cheltenham. I do like Jody as a jockey, but it's got to be second string at least. And then obviously a Dream de Share did win comfortably in front of It's For Me at Cheltenham as well. So I reckon King of Kingsfield could run well. What do you reckon in the race? You having a bet?
You kind of stole my thunder there, Dave. He's the only horse I'm going to back against the favourite. Anyway. I couldn't have this Tully Hill. I thought there would be a different horse of Willie Mullins than this, as an all cheeky bet, but 9-4 stupid, like about a horse that won a Bog Warrior bumper at Corn Park. No thanks. The rest of them are not good enough, to be honest with you. And look, after a Cheltenham bumper, they could all change around. You know yourself. Dream to Share should win. If I was going against him, it would definitely be King Kingsfield. I think he's better than he's run the last day. He has run since Christmas against Facile Mode. Give Facile Mode a lot of weight that day, and I thought I was given a bad ride. And definitely is a shout against a Dream to Share each way, and that's who I'd be backing each way. Like yourself, would be King of Kingsfield.
Nice. Right, I might start letting you go first then, seeing as I'm steering on the thunder. There's a grade A handicap chase after this. It's disappointing, if I'm honest with you. It's a
Very poor,
2 mile 5 like handicap chase. So it's not necessarily like a niche distance, but you get your 2 mile 4s, you get your 3 miles. I like this in terms of a trip. It's 100k or €100 like race. It's 60,000 for first. We've got 9 horses that want to run at this sort of trip. Kills me to see it, but I don't think I'll be having a bet here. I look for a few of them. I can make a case for a couple of them. Is there anything that you fancy?
Very tentative selection, Dave, for I Like the Way You're Thinking, who was 4 lengths behind Lieutenant Command at Leopardstown the week before Cheltenham. I think it's better off going right-handed, and Mark Walsh jumps ship off Andy Dufresne on here. Very tentative selection. I never even really looked at. I suppose Hard Doors 5-2 at the top of the market. Ran in a race with Journey with me and Impervious there before Cheltenham in Punchestown. Finished 4th, I think. Now look, Journey with me did nothing today. Impervious is a good mare. Maybe has a chance back in a handicap, but put a gun to my head. I like the way you're thinking, but it's very, very tentative. Poor race, to be honest. Normally there'd be about 15, 16 runners in this, but people don't have the horses, I suppose. And we suppose tentative selection on I Like the Way You're Thinking, because I think there's a big handicap chasing them.
I like it. Right, then we've got the Mares Flat Race in the end. This is my second bet for Wednesday. It's my best bet for the day. I'm having 75 quid on Fun at 2-1. I think she's a stupid price, personally. I know it's always hard to say with these types of races, but she was probably just outclassed at Cheltenham. And for all that Daryl Jacob is a fantastic jockey, he's not Patrick Mullins in a bumper. So I feel like fun here. The race that she won when they weren't sure how well she was going to do it, she was supported in the market. So Daryl doesn't buy into the fact that they didn't expect her to do it. But she was a bit flat in the race, wasn't she? And then she seemed to stay on like strongly. I just think in this company, she's going to be way too good for these. This is a grade 3 bumper compared to what she's running at Cheltenham. Like, that is the creme de la creme. There's plenty of good horses we've seen over the year that finish well down the feed on the champion bumper at Cheltenham. Hopefully that's not left a mark, but I think the 2-1 on her is massive. They were talking about Aintree, weren't they? So potentially they were going to skip Cheltenham and just go and win the Mares bumper at Aintree. They've even swerved that. So they've given her the time after Cheltenham. There is a possibility that she's not recovered from Cheltenham. They didn't want to run her at Aintree because of that, and then they're just running her at Punchestown for the sake of it. But then I don't think that's the case. I think she's good. And if, I'm not even an if, like if she hadn't run at Cheltenham and she skipped Aintree and she came here, she'd be a 2s on poke for me. I think she's a massive price, which is why I've gone a bit of balls deep. 75 quid on Fun. She will win. What do you think? I'm not wrong, am I? Or am I?
I suppose I'll fall into the trap, Dave, that I normally do at Punchestown, is that I don't forgive a horse for the race and thing, but she won easy at Leopardstown. But as you say, I was there, like I saw it. She looked like she was falling out the back of the telly in that mare's bumper. Then it's like they collapsed in front of her, and then she just ran on. And I don't know. I suppose what's put me off the second favourite is that it was a 2 mile 3.5 bumper at Limerick and bog ground. This second string of Willie Muns at Junta Marvel. Now I was impressed with her, but it probably was a nothing race. But they really fancy that Cromwell horse, that Bioluminesque, in the race, and I heard she's a good horse. And she was very green in the race, and I thought the jockey giving an off right is the only thing that will. But I suppose I will fall into the trap of not backing Fun, and I'll go against it, and I think Junta Marvel will beat it.
I mean, could happen, couldn't it? Patrick's ridden them both. Patrick knows who the best horses. I know he bred this one, so maybe he might be a bit indifferent. That could have fallen in the trap, but like that Fancy Girl, from a price perspective, right, is 6-1 against Fun. Fun smashed her 12 lengths. I really do just think she's the wrong price, and it's funny as well because Willie Mullins. I know Miss Augusta's in there for Gordon Elliott, hasn't even won. But if you take the fact that they're trained by Willie Mullins, the ones are behind, the form of them doesn't really stack up that strongly.
No.
But they're just making the price of Fun. I genuinely think she's a proper bet. There is the caveat that, like I say, Cheltenham could have taken something out of her, and maybe she was flattered in that fairy out that Leopardstown run. But at 2-1, I'm more than happy to get stuck in. So best bet for tomorrow, Wednesday, clearly for me is Fun. How about you?
Gaelic Warrior.
There's a nice little double, isn't there? And this isn't gambling responsibly, so don't actually pay attention to this. But if you do the double and Gaelic Warrior gets beat, then just have another bit on Fun, because she will win. Right. I have looked at Thursday. I've got one bet that I've struck so far. I'm going to go back and have a look at a couple more just to see what prices come out and things like that. So I'm going to be a little bit tentative on what I say in ones in here. The handicap hurdle that kicks off. It's not the type of race that I get too excited about in terms of rating, but I reckon there's a couple of okay-ish horses in here in terms of the fact that I think there's some horses that can win races. Is it a race you've looked at? Is it a race that you've got an opinion in?
I looked at it, Dave, and I couldn't come down. I could have picked about 10 of it in it. No, it's desperate. Move on.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's sort of what I mean about the fact that I think there's a few that can win a race in it. Like it's not one to get too excited about, but I do think it would be quite a good race from a watching perspective. Handicap chase after, it is a grade B, right? It's over 2 miles. They managed to get 14 in here, haven't they? I'm going to do it, but I'll let you talk first. Is there anything you fancy? Are you going to be throwing any money away in this race?
A lot of pace on here, Dave, to be honest with you. And please don't say you're going to back Hollow Games. But it might have a chance. But I backed both of them at the entry. Choice of words. Is it choice of words? Am I in the wrong one? What was that Ballymore horse that Rachel won on that beat Douglas Talking in that 2 mile? That choice. What was it? I can't remember the name of it. Hold on. Let me click into it. Dancing on my own. Dancing on my
That's the
own
one.
beat Douglas Talking at Aintree. I thought if I thought Douglas Talking went too fast, I suppose it's the same kind of track, like it's speed track, Punchestown. I like why they bring it over. Is it for the money, the prize money, maybe? It'd be the rest of them are all being around the block here, like you know what I mean. Um, I really don't have a strong opinion, but I would take a chance on the Douglas Talking at whatever price it comes up at.
So Douglas Talking's 5-1 is the price that I can see up on the screen now. So
Yeah.
interesting one. And British Red is, to be fair to them, they do all right when they come over. So
Mm.
Douglas Talking is one that was on my short list, but you did mention the horse. I don't even care. I'm happy to just let the horse be gone after this. It's the Cliff. Hollow Games, right? I've just poo-pooed Danny Gilligan not really being worth the £7. But I said that run at the start of the season made me feel like he was a bit of a two-miler. He's going to end up like in an Irish national next year, isn't he? Like dotting up in there. The problem with it is in this race, right? I don't like too many horses in it. I do think that Douglas Talking's obviously interested. British Ready coming over. They, like I said, they do well in these types of races. So it's there for all to see. Dino Blue is 147 rated now. I don't even know what she was pre-Cheltenham, but she ran at Cheltenham off 140. So she's got to be I don't know, a stone higher than what she was before Cheltenham. And for all that she clattered fences, and I can't believe how close she got and what well she did, I wouldn't want to be backing her at a short price in a handicap, given the fact that she does make those mistakes. So I think I will have a bet on Hollow Games. It's not going to be a big one, but it'll be a token selection on him.
I thought she looked beaten the last day anyway, Dave. Someone, the horse fell at the last day at Fairy House. She doesn't find much after bridle, and I thought she was beaten the last day at Fairy. No, look, hindsight's a great thing, but I wouldn't fancy her in a finish at all.
No, and this is the point, right? This is the point, right? So Racing Post comments. Lots of people won't have watched the race at Fairy House, or they may have done. It was a novice's handicap chase, so there's a different feel to what this is. And although this is a Grade B, this is still established chases, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was one left in the lead and clear last, and then it says ease towards finish. So people will read the comments, they'll just skim to the end and see ease towards finish, won by 9.5 lengths. Think she won like a good thing, wouldn't they? So that's what I mean. She's £7 higher than when she ran there. And I'm not so keen on the form really standing up. So I was trying to find something to go against her, and I just can't bring myself to not back Hollow Games. I think 10-1's an okayish price, but probably get bigger on the machine.
If you look at it, the horse that was actually in here, it was a length ahead at the last, and it's Whiskey Welt, and it fell at the last. So do you know what I mean? That could be a horse as well. That could be a horse that with Douglas Talking to take on whatever by Hollow Games, whatever. But Whiskey Welt looked like the winner of that race, so it's up to you if you want to take a chance. If it's not bad from the fall from the last day.
But neither of them can jump, can they? But it's fine. We'll see. These handicappers, like you can make mistakes, can't you? But you want a handicapper that hopefully can jump. Anyway, we've done that race justice, I think. Should we move on?
Move on.
The Latouche Cross Country. I won't be having a single bet in this. Is there anything that people need to know about?
No. Move on.
Okay, move on. We've got a bet. We've got Classical Dream in the Champion Stairs Hurdle. I backed him anti-post for Cheltenham. And he did end up turning up there. And I was giving it all the big and like Willie Mullins runs well fresh. It's by design in this Christmas, all this sort of stuff. And he wasn't great, was he? But I like Classical Dream. He's won this the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's a proper horse. Now look, Tiapu was real good at Cheltenham, like surprised me. Deserved favourite, that's for sure. Cider Burley, like it's mental in it, has just won at Cheltenham. He just won at Aintree. Then he's coming in as a 5-1 bloke. I'm not saying that he can't win, but the turnaround of these races for that horse at that age is more to me like they've just got to run him because we're not going to get any more chances next year, possibly. Monkfish was pretty good for that last run. Is bound to step up on that, but it's the fact that Paul Townend is just like not necessarily all over Classical Dream, but I feel like it's like this has been a plan, and I feel like he must be somewhere near his best. And I feel like if he is near his best, he beats a lot of these because as like Monkfish obviously was on his day an absolute worldie, but the time off he's had and all those sort of things, and running over a different discipline, I'm not getting involved in him. I can't see it. He's a 150-ish horse. over hurdles as far as I'm concerned. Tiapu, for all that he did run well at Cheltenham, was beaten by 100-1 poke. Interfered with Dashwood Rasher, which sounds inappropriate, doesn't it? But I don't really rate Dashwood Rasher for as much as he's a lovely horse. So I feel like Classical Dream is the genuine Grade 1 horse in here. Got a bit of 5-1 with Coral. I've had 50 quid on him. I was tempted to have a ton on him. I'm trying to be a bit more restrained with these ones that I get overly excited about because I could just be wrong. But I think 4-1's massive on him. I feel like he's got to be nibbled in. Like I say, I've mentioned the other horses like your Monkfish, Cider Burley, Tiapu in there. Tiapu's about the right price, I think. Monkfish, I can see him staying about the same. Cider Burley is never going to drift up to what's happened, but I can't see the market just holding up. So I back Classical Dream. I think he should be a lot shorter. I don't know whether he will get much shorter or not because, like I say, the race is deep enough on paper. How do you see it?
I couldn't have started Berlin now. I suppose after these 2 runs in winning at Cheltenham Rangery. The Monkfish, I couldn't. I'm like you, Dave. I couldn't have Monkfish here. Like, sure to God, he might bounce after the run against what's his name? Oh, was that Asterion Fernandes? Yeah,
he's in here again, isn't he, Astro boy?
Yeah, Asterion Fernandes. No, it's between the top 2 in the market, Dave. I was back. I had a good bet in Tupu at Cheltenham. Did he really stay or up the hill? Do you know what I mean? But I suppose this is an easier 3 miles. But this is easier 3 miles. Classical dream country. Do you know what I mean? After winning the last 2 run-ins of the race, the only thing I will say is that the form of the Hatton's Grace, Tuba did beat it. Different trip, I understand. It's between the 2. It's up to yourself, I suppose. If a good ground, which it looks like it is, it looks like it's going to dry out there. I prefer Classical Dream over Tupu. If it was softer, I'd go with Tupu. But I think I'm with you there. I think Classical Dream, this is his trip at Punchestown over 3 miles, and this is what he likes, and I think he'll win it for the 3rd time in a row. Yeah.
Nice. And this will be another one, right? I do like the horse. Don't want to get that out of the picture. But again, from a pricing perspective is the reason I've got a bit more excited about this one. If they flipped the prices and Classical Dream was installed at 9-4 and Tiapu was 4-1, I wouldn't be bringing myself to back Tiapu, but I would be saying that Classical Dream's about the right price and he might not be a bet for me, but he's the wrong price as far as I'm concerned. So we'll have a go. What could happen is Tiapu could win on the bridle because Classical Dream falters, and then it will just look like Tiapu's an absolute worldie. Don't forget, like anybody watching this, I could be completely wrong, but if Tiapu does win by miles and Classical Dream doesn't perform, the you can say what you want about the horse behind. I know I'm slating Cider Bird. He's just won 2 big Grade 1s, like staying at hurdles, but the form will not stack up of this if Classical Dream's not up there at the finish. There's a Grade B handicap hurdle after a Grade B. It's because I want to say Grade 3, but it's not. It would be a 2, wouldn't it? Anyway, it's a 3-mile handicap hurdle. Normally, these races do get decent fields. I don't know what it is about just plodding, staying 3-mile hurdlers that I feel like they're just a lot of horses that just never, ever achieved anything, and that's why they end up in here. I have to let you go first because I think there's a horse in there that I don't know if you'll get excited about, but I think there's a horse in there that you're definitely going to mention. You lead off if that's all right.
He's hanging me straight away. He knows who I'm going to tip. It all depends, I suppose, Dave, on with Salvador Ziggy's run against Gaelic Warrior tomorrow in the Grade 1. And I thought I got stopped on the run all the time in the Pertence, and its best run was right-handed at Exeter on good ground, and it's crying out for good ground. And Nicky Henderson is coming over with Walking on Air, and I think Walking on Air, if it's to move on up the grades and up into graded company, it should be winning this. I had a look at the race. I don't fancy anything else. I would be going, as you say, a point is a €25 win on Walking on Air, and I really fancy it. I think it'll win.
Interesting. I haven't looked at the ride book or anything like that. Do you reckon it's just because Daryl's over here that Nicky's done it rather than Nico coming over for a quick win to win some prize money?
I think it's because Daryl's over here, Dave. I wouldn't take any notice of the jockey bookings whatsoever. It doesn't bother me, that thing. He's just over here, and he used to ride for Henderson a lot, so Daryl Jacob doesn't bother me, to be honest with you. No, Daryl Jacob can get into trouble. There's no doubt about that. But I think this horse could be, like, if you look at it, that most impressive was Exeter. I know I had to get qualified for the Pertens, but I think it just looks better going right-handed and more comfortable, and I think it'll win. Yeah, this is definitely a good bet. 25 yards to win. Way you go.
Happy days. Right. I knew you were going to tip him. I do see the case. I definitely do think the horse has got a chance. However, there is a horse that I don't know how stuck in I'm going to get because they haven't priced it up yet. But this is where I was saying, I didn't really want to say too much about certain horses and all that sort of stuff. There's one I want to have a few quid on, depending on the price, right? It is Let's Go Champ, Rachel Blackmore, Henry de Bromhead. The main reason behind this horse is I remember watching the Tattersall sales years ago. It was a good few years ago. He beat fullback. He was one of those that I was just pricing up horses and seeing what they went for. He went for a little bit more than I expected, and then he wasn't seen from the point for probably it's got to be 3.5 years, maybe near close to 4 years. But he's come out and run since, and I know he got beat when he ran first time upright against a horse, Tactical Move, who the form hasn't really stacked up after, but he's not necessarily a bad horse. But a horse that was like a 13-8 favourite in a maiden hurdle round here after 1,400-day break, it was probably never going to win. And I wouldn't have a bad line in that one. The Nace maiden hurdle after, I still don't think was a bad run, come second. And he's a horse that I think stays because fullback that he beat in his point, for me, was a horse that got better. He went over a bit further. And then he's finally got the job done at Tipperary. That run was not very long ago, right? So gets him into the handicap, gets him with a handicap mark, and it's also 9 days, right? It's almost the closest he could have run him to get a mark as the next bit. We've given him enough break. But it was one of those, right, where he was ridden, but I don't think it would have taken too much out of him. It would have been just probably a good piece of work. And he's honestly crying out for the trip. So I would have probably preferred if there was a bit of a gap in terms of timings for the racing. But look, Henry knows how to ready a horse. I think that Let's Go Champ could be a bit of a bet in here. Depends what sort of price they price it up as. If he's double figures, which I'm hoping he will be, like 12s or 14s, I'm going to have a good go on him. And then I'll probably look to just lay back stake if I have a good chunk on, as opposed to backing each way, because you're going to get a maximum field in here of 25. They've got reserves and everything sat there. The bookies, Sky Bet will do a concession, but you might not get enough places for the concession to be worth it, because it's 4 places for 16 runners. In all aspects here, it should be at least 6 places normally. So even if a bookie's offering that, I don't think it's actually classed as extended term. So waffled for ages, but I'm excited about Let's Go Champ. It is a bit punty, but he needs to be a price as well to back him. Oh, well, that'll do. I'll take. That will do. As long as you just don't say I'll piss off. Right, we've got the 2 mile novices chase. Almost feels like a bit of a non-race when you look at the market, given that El Fabiolo is the 3s on favourite. Am I mad for thinking that Dysart Dynamo at 5-1 is a not? I wouldn't say he's a massive price, but feels like he's worth a bet, isn't he, or not?
No, I'm not falling for him anymore.
He's not falling anymore, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not falling for him anymore anyway. So move on. Fabiola to win. Good luck.
He will, won't he?
Yeah.
Only because it's a small field, but yeah, you're right. We'll leave it alone. That's the thing with these. Sometimes you can get excited about the prices when you shouldn't do. There's a mare's handicap chase after, which wouldn't be for me. Anything in there you like?
No. I looked at it, David. Crap. Move on.
Happy days. Then we've got another bumper, which I don't even know who's won this down the past, and I don't want to be rude and say that it's not a great bumper. But how will you be joining me in diving off the cliff with a couple of horses at Punchestown?
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm really excited about this bumper. I think this bumper is very good. It's kind of the one, Dave, like last year, I was absolutely lost my underpants on James's Gate after finishing 3rd in the bumper because I thought the rest of them were absolutely crap. Now better days ahead, and all these so-called middle of the road bumper horses are now running. We're coming from grade 1s, are coming into this race, but I think this horse, the way he pulled the last day of Punchestown, and I've backed him already for Cheltenham for the Ballymore. I think this Ballymore looks an absolute machine. I just do, and I could have egg in my face last year after James's Gate, but I just think this is 10 times better horse than James's Gate anyway. But oh my god, I'm really impressed with this horse. I think this is really one of the best bumper horse all year. That's just my opinion, and I've backed him for Cheltenham next year already. And I'm very happy with my price, and I hope he hoses up. I don't care if he wins by a half length, 20 lengths. this is the one, and on to bigger things next year. This horse is a really good horse. I hope he's a really good horse. I hope I don't have egg in my face, but yeah, he's one of the. He's going to be no price, but look, he might be some bit of a price if he's a not odds on. Oh my god, I'm going to throw everything on it.
Good man. So that makes me feel better because I tissued this one up. Ballyburn. I wouldn't say I was like intentionally trying to play it down so that you just didn't get excited about something. But I wanted to see your genuine thing, right? If I start saying this looks like a really good bumper, there could be some prospects in it, and then you say the same, people will think you're following suit. Ballyburn literally pulled unbelievably, didn't he? He pulled like Rick Astley in a nightclub, didn't he? He was all over it. The thing is, like when horses have that amount of ability with pulling hard and stuff, like they could be a worldie. I'm just glad because you did like better days ahead. You know he's gonna if he's gonna get done by anything, it'll be that. But I like the fact that you are like probably a better person than I am for the fact that you can get off a horse after you started on the beginning of the season. So the fact that you've not even really mentioned him, he's gone Ballyburn makes me feel better. I had that horse, one of those, like it is unknown quantities, and I don't think the race really is that exciting in behind, although there is a horse in that I am semi-excited about. Where you touched on there, like if he's any shade of odds against, it'd be worth a bet. He's the sort of horse that I have penciled in as a tissue for 6-4. I'd have him down as an evens chance, more than the fact than anything that I'd happily take a coin flip that he's actually much better than these. So if you can get the odds against, I'll be having a few quid in as well. So, oi, the boys, we've smashed Wednesday, we've smashed Thursday, but we need to tell everyone what our best bet would be for Thursday. So where would be your best bet? Would it be the bumper?
Oh, Ballyburn, yeah.
Oh, that's massive. My best bet would be Classical Dream, given the fact that he could be a flopper like everyone else could be. The ones that I've mentioned, Classical Dream, Let's Go Champ, even Hollow Games give a little bit of a squeak too. So I do fancy Classical Dream. Right? Obviously, I had 50 quid on him, but I'm not an idiot.
If Walking On Air doesn't win, I'll never back it again. After.
Oh, yeah, just after I said that you're happy to get off a horse and then Walking On Air was a selection. Yeah. But rightly so, to be fair. Like he was all right in the attempts, and like British horses that come over do all right. I've been drawn into a few of them in the past. We're not talking about the Hunter's Chase on Friday, are we?
No.
Good. We've got we talked about that handicap chase over 2 mile 5 that drew 9 runners. There's a 2 mile 5 novices handicap chase on Friday that currently has 24 that are in here. They're not all going to run because Hardor's not going, is he? There's some other horses that may not go.
James Burley, yeah.
Exactly. So a few of them are going to drop out, but I'm not saying they merged the two. They dropped the novice handicap at Cheltenham, didn't they? Because they said about the Brown Advisory. Do it at Punchestown, drop this race off. But it looks an interesting one, doesn't it? So Scottish obviously did flop in the plate at Cheltenham. Kilcret, no, I don't think anyone has a clue what that horse is really capable of or what distance he should really be running at, but would be an interesting runner in here. I'm not going to have a bet in this race. Like I'm not going to get pulled in with anything. Sometimes you get these novices where at the beginning of the season you think they're good and they may just run, I don't know, a bit under par some points, and you can sort of forgive them the run. There isn't a horse in this race that I can forgive some of their poorer performances, so I won't be having a bet in here. But is there one that people should be going in on?
I can't believe, Dave, you haven't mentioned the horse that you've been over a cliff of, and I think he's crying out for the step back and trip.
Ramillies?
Yes. It's like a thing on this race. Was it 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? 2-3 years ago? 2 years, I'd say. Asterion won it, and last year Albarra won it. It's one of those races that you forget when a horse has been over a trip that it shouldn't have been for all its life, and then comes back over 2.5 miles. I think Paul Townend will pick this, Dave, and I think if it runs now, whatever price. I've only just glanced at it there, and looking at all the Willie Mullins horses, he might pick him. Probably more than likely be on Kilcrut. No, maybe Danny might be on that. Could pick Adam E. Chosen, like, because sometimes Willie Mullins horses and all those win off top weight, and it's just one of those meetings. You know what I mean? That the rest of them are crap and he'll just win, kind of thing, because he has the form behind all the horses this year. He's running all the grade ones. Maybe Townend might pick him. But I think if Townend picks him, Ramillies, I might have a small bet on him, because I think he'd forgotten about. And he was a good second to the Devil's Coachman at Naas the day he was kind of thrown out. Then he won his beginners at Thurles, wasn't it? And then didn't really run his race in the National Chase. And I think back at 2.5 miles, maybe he's tripped. So maybe a chance on him.
I like it. I mean, you've probably sold that to me. I would be interested with Paul Townend riding as well, because Paul Townend doesn't, just because he's the #1 stable jockey,
Yeah.
doesn't just ride for the sake of riding. He skips loads of handicaps, doesn't he? I like it when he's on a handicap. I think it's quite telling. Good work there. Then we've got a Mare's Chase. You've already talked about her earlier, Impervious. I don't know whether I saw something saying that she's not running here. Maybe I've just completely and utterly made that up, but well, maybe I have. It's like, presuming they all run, like her and Allegory Devassi are. I don't think there's that much between them, but I do think that I couldn't pick between the two of them. I know Impervious will probably be the most likely favourite. I just don't want Allegory Devassi to get to a backable price. Do you think it's just between the two, or do you think something like Ellie May could get back into the game, Riviere de Tel, even Dulcita for some sort of revival?
If Impervious doesn't run, Dave, I think Instead will win, won't it? Sure, Instead beat Allegory Devassi the last day overnight by 9 lengths. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really a fan of Instead, to be honest with you. Like, tell me something girl beat Instead at Nace, and I was there that day. No, like, it's crap. Like, if Impervious doesn't run, I will back Instead against Allegory Devassi. I think Allegory, is it back to 2 miles this race? Sorry, am I wrong? It's back to 2 miles.
2 mile 5, this is.
2 mile 5. No, I think Allegory Devassi is a 2 miler. I don't think she stays 2.5 miles. She proved that at Cheltenham up the hill. Impervious got the better of her. I think if you roll Allegory Devassi out in the 2 mile chase, catch me if you can, she'd be all the better for it. I don't think she stays 2 miles and a half, 2 miles 5, because the way she runs, her running style. So I would back Instead against her, definitely, if Impervious doesn't turn up.
But if Impervious does run, which I could have been completely wrong, she may well go and run. She's good, isn't she? Because that Dino Blue form, as much as I knocked the numbers and stuff that he did before, she beat her comfortably. I think that Instinct was miles behind her as well earlier in the season, maybe in that same race at Cork.
Yeah,
she should be good, shouldn't she, Impervious?
Impervious is a good horse, and like, I can't see anything coming from left field to beat her in the Mare's chases for the next couple of seasons. Anyway, put it that way, too.
No, I agree.
Well, you know Mares, Dave.
Bloody hell, do I know the bloody Mares? Punchestown Champion Hurdle Grade 1 is a bit of a sad one for me, really. I know it's good for Honey to go at Cheltenham and Honey to go on a high. I feel it's a bit sad that they haven't run her here. I know from a campaign and a welfare perspective, all that sort of stuff, like leave her at Cheltenham, but she's had the crack at Stateman before, didn't she? And as much as Stateman did go and batter her, I don't really think that was Honeysuckle at her best. I know the Mare's Hurdle form's not exactly going to stand up, is it? But I don't know. I feel like she owes it to the sort of home battalion to finish off her career over here. But then that's silly, and it just run a horse for the sake of the fact they're from the country. Stateman, should and probably will win this. Echoes and Rain's one that I've fallen for so many times, haven't I? And I just don't know where she sits anymore. But the fact that I see she's 8-1 in this race makes me sad. She should be 25 or more in this, but watch her go and win now. Stateman just wins, didn't he? Stick him in a double with Impervious if she runs.
Oh yeah, Stateman will win. Move on. Vauban's been very disappointing this year, Dave. I bought into him. Maybe that Triumph was no good, even though I backed Piper a snaky bet in the county hurdle. But no, it's Stateman will win. Like, I think 1 to 2 is a good price.
Fair enough.
For what it's achieved in Ireland.
Yeah, this is true. So that's the thing. He's beaten all before him, and it's probably an easier race than he's running recently, isn't it? The Champion Novice Hurdle comes after this. This is over 2 mile 3. It's an interesting one to think that. Again, I don't even know if Impere Pass runs, but I would assume that he does. I'm sure there's something I heard somewhere about one of these two not running. I'm probably just wrong. But if Impere Pass runs, he just craps home, didn't he? It's a sad state of affair, even looking at the entries, though, at the fact of like the novice hurdle division. Like, you saw it's there, Facile Vega going in there. You'll see here, there's 12 that have been entered. Willie Mullins is doubly entering everything, like Diverge, Facile Vega, Gaelic Warrior, Ilete Thompson. No looking back round, didn't he, for Oliver McKiernan? Like, they're not going to run. So in terms of like novices on both sides of the sea, novice hurdlers, there's just not much about, is there? But Impere Pass was so good at Cheltenham. If he runs, is he in a treble with the others too?
I'd say so. Yeah, I suppose it is.
Jeez, it's getting
It's mug.
easy, isn't it?
It's muggy, isn't it? No.
It doesn't, but it's
I
not. I
don't.
don't think. I don't think. Sorry to cut you in, but
Yeah,
I know it is a muggy bet, but I don't think it's that muggy. Like Impervious is clear, State Man's clear, this horse is clear. Like they're all worthy like twos on pokes, aren't they?
they are, but it'll to show you exactly what you're getting at. There's too many of these races. This should be all cut off at like the old style of what it was. A grade 1 at 2 miles, a grade 1 at 3 miles. If you
Yeah.
can't be quick enough for 2 or you can't stay 3, well, that's tough shit. Do you know what I mean? The intermediate trip has come in and it's come in big time. But then Willie Mullins is obviously people on Twitter saying, "Oh, it's bad advertising for Irish racing." But my point was that I understand where they're coming from. Willie Mullins has different owners in the whole thing, but doubly and trebly entering is a joke. You either enter him in one race or you don't. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what he's getting too much away with. That's just my opinion. But my other opinion is like, where are the British horses? It's the same with the Dublin Racing Festival. The prize money is better at the Dublin Racing Festival than it is at any race at Cheltenham. And then they're giving out about, oh, it's a bad advertisement with Willie Mullins. Willie Mullins runs all these horses in the grade ones. And why can't the British horses come on? Fair play to Paul Nichols bringing over Brave Man's Game. Do you know what I mean? To have a go at Gallup and the Champs again. Do you know what I mean? The only trainer has the I won't say it, to bring his horse over to run against those Irish horses. It's a sad state of affairs. The British horses don't come over. We come over for Cheltenham. Why can't you come over for the Dublin Race Festival or Punchestown? Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's too late in the season. No, it's not. Because because you're waiting for sandown on Saturday for more prize money. Stop, please. No, why rant over?
It is true. The good thing is because Willie just makes so much money on both sides of the sea. Makes no difference, does it? Someone like Paul Nichols who wants to be champion trainer, even though he's probably well clear anyway, he won't hold a horse back from Aintree to run him at Punchestown, even though there could be an easier option because it doesn't tack into the British prize money total, and that's all he cares about, rather than actually winning races. Brave Man's Game's only running because he couldn't run at Aintree, isn't he?
Yeah, that's all. That's all. And I suppose it's a good thing, in a way. Do you know when I see a British horse over? But I just don't understand.
See it just get pulled up because he's going to get lapped.
Yeah. But like, do you know what I mean? And it's like a quick thing before we move on. It's like your horse that you tipped last year and you've tipped it a good few times, the Goffer, right? I thought the Goffer was nailed on for the Kimure, right? But look at the difference in the prize money for the Dublin race. The fellas 2.5 miles. It was 80,000 for 33,000 to win at Cheltenham for the Kimure. I know it's the prestige to win at Cheltenham, but the owners said, "Give it a go. Come on, he's well handicapped. We want to win the big pot." Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to fall into that trap next year where a horse is waiting for Cheltenham. I'm not doing that anymore.
No, I agree, and that's the thing with it. Like there is the big draw. Like I say, I still class, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, I still class this as a proper racing festival. I think it is just that, like the lack of competitiveness gets a bit annoying, doesn't it? But it's things like Irish Point could have went and run at Aintree to go pick up the easy grade 1 in England instead, which is equivalent of a grade 2. But there's just no depth in there, is there?
In the Pocket is another one. Do you know that one? Do you know what I mean? They're going for the so-called easy grade 1s at Aintree. Do you know what I
mean? Yep. Son of a bitch. Right, Champion Hunter Chase race after. Bill away, back to Punchestown to try and do some bits. I mean, I don't even want to necessarily talk about the race. Wing Leader's in here, Voselay's in here. I don't really care about it, do you?
I don't really care about it. I used to care about these races. Now I don't care about them anymore, Dave.
I used to care about it back in the days when you had the back-to-back winners, just the horses that you knew you could have a few quid on. The thing is, they were like the 6-4 pokes as well back then, and they're not the same anymore.
No.
We've got an after this, which, but there's nothing to get excited about there. But when you look at the entries of it, I know we've had other horses that have run, but you get things like Night and Day's already run. You get that Bial stock that's won. We've got Grange Clare West that's going to win. Like their horses again, like they're just being doubly entered, like you said about Willie Mullins, and then the race just completely and utterly cuts up. These are it's a Punchestown festival. I still think they're just weak races and they annoy me. But as much as I love the festival, they just pad them out, didn't they? Bring it back to, just bring it back. They just make cuts down to smaller races. Another bumper though, where we've got Chapeau de Soleil that was quiet enough going into Cheltenham as far as I'm concerned, because I thought that was a long enough break to run him at Cheltenham. I can't believe that he went off at 40s really, because I know he got beat at Fairyhouse, but it just seems a stupid price for a horse that and you could have argued he could have been like a 10 or 12 spoke. I think he opened 20s on course, but I don't know what it was in the morning. But yeah, he went off at 40s. So I'll be really keen to see what happens in here, because obviously Willie's got a few that he can run. Plenty of bumpers they can be split across. If Patrick's on him, I might have a few quid on him, but then it does depend on what they do with the prices. The Irish bookies aren't going to care, or the bookies full stop aren't going to care that he was 40s at Cheltenham and Champion Bumper. They know what the potential is, didn't they? So we'll have to see. But I would be happy to throw some more money at Chapeau de Soleil if he runs in here, and if he was a bit of a price. Anything of interest in here for you?
Just go back there to the one you skipped through, the 2 Mile Novice. There's a horse there that was favourite. Was he favourite to win the Tallworth, wasn't it? Was it favourite? Arctic Brazil. I think it needs a bit of better ground, and hopefully by the time it comes around to Friday evening, it has a bit of better ground. And I'm surprised Willie Mullins don't has much in here compared to, last year he'd always have kind of one that is nearly should be in a grade 1, and El Fabiola won it last year, and the likes of Arctic Fire and all them have won this race. But if Arctic Brazil runs in here, I'll back it. In the bumper, I see Willie Mullins is a lot in here, Dave. I know the Chapeau de Soleil, and I think there's an interesting one here in the same colours, and if I think it runs, I'm hearing a lot about this horse, is called
Eggman.
Dr. Eggman. So if that runs, I'll back that. The rest, I don't really know about. Put that way, Joe. There's too many in there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And is that, again, I don't want to be rude to him, but it's a weak enough bumper if I look at it. Yeah. I know, it's like Riki again, right? Rich Riki doesn't care about prize money or prestige or whatever. Like, wants it in for the horses, but it's still a win at Punchestown, and it's still a win for Willie Mullins. Like Chapeau de Soleil for me is miles clear. Well, potentially, we don't know how good some of these are. We'll be miles clear in there. Right, so best bet for Friday.
Ugh. If Ramillies runs, if Ramillies runs in the 2.5 mile, I'll back that each way.
Happy days. I wouldn't have a strong fancy on anything outside of Chapeau de Soleil if he runs, but then price dependent on that one. Could be a few shorties on there. Hopefully they go in so the punters win. Saturday, we're just going to focus on Punchestown. I mean, if you want to mention anything for Sandown, we can, because I'll be there and I can't wait to see Grenadine, Spank, John Bon. Another cross country on the start of Saturday. We're not interested in that, are we?
No, he won't.
We'll come to that then. We've got the Com Quinn BMW Handicap Chase. Com Quinn loves to give a trainer, an owner, or someone a nice BMW. You don't need to advertise. 3 mile 7, right? It's the not quite 4 miler. Anything in here that gets your fancy?
Oh no, move on. I hate that rest.
Okay, I'm glad. It's one of those races, though, isn't it? That like they could be a horse that falls in. I wouldn't like anything in there. 0 to 145 as well, in it, and you get horses at the bottom that are at like 110 rated. It's the same as the National One Chase. Like, it's borderline too far to be running horses, because there's just not enough races to run them in to maybe make them appreciate.
They should have enough in nationals that are run every month. Do you know what I mean? This way there, see, why is there another race over the same distance? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Right, so the Mayor's Champion Hurdle. This is where Echoes and Wrenn will run. Again, like I said, I cannot believe that she's 8-1 in there, but she's not going to run. I will be back in Echoes and Wrenn when she runs in here. Epitant's not the same horse as she was. Love Envoy is, like, clearly a very good mare, but I don't like how... It's not even necessarily intermittent, but I don't like how she chucked in that bad run at Fairy House. And I know you'll probably say it wasn't that bad a run, but she should have beat Brandy Love as far as I was concerned. And the horses that were in behind that day are, I mean, I'm going to say it again, Dino Blue, Impervious. The depth of it looks quite good, but they've improved for a fence, haven't they? Hors Piste is the one that was just behind, and Hors Piste is just is no good as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, to be fair, run behind Salvador Ziggy. Maybe I'm poo-pooing the form too much. Anyway, we'll see what sort of price Echoes and Wrenn is. The bookies priced her up as 8-1 for that Champion Hurdle. If they make her like sub 4-1 in this, then I would be not backing her, because I would hope that Love Envoy is going to take up so much of the market. I might get something like 8-1 on Echoes and Wrenn in here. But yeah, she'll be very price sensitive for me, but she's be the one that I'll be looking to back. How about you? Going to get stuck into anything in here?
If she comes over and I Love Envoy, I'll win. Move on.
Savage. Harry Fry loves this festival as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's definitely bring her over. He's done its few handicaps. Fair play to him. They got a good one, didn't they? the Pat Taff handicap chase, 3 miles. Anything in here you like?
No.
Good. We're going well. What if Ramillies runs in here?
Back it.
There we go. That's all we'll do. Wherever Ramillies runs, because this is the last chance. The last time we're going
This
to
is the last chance saloon.
So juvenile hurdle, right?
Mhm.
This again, I say again, it depends on Lossiemouth running. Lossiemouth runs in it, she absolutely scoots home, right?
Should yeah. She runs. I suppose the one horse off a break would be Zarek the Brave after being second to it in the Fairy House in the ground. Because I think the rest are just no good, Dave. Now, if you look back at it, sorry, I'm wrong. Not Autumn, but Blood Destiny. Forget about him. Maybe he'd be better over a fence. I saw something that interested me that the quickest horse from the last 3 furlongs at Cheltenham up the hill was Garla Marceau. And some split I saw somewhere. I don't know where I saw it. It just stuck in my head. And I suppose if I thought she was just too far back, I suppose that's the difference sometimes when Townend is actually on fire. That he saw Lost him out was pulling basically at the top of it and said, look, I have enough horse. I know she stays further than 2 miles one. She's probably going to get further in time out like most trained hurdle horses do. Could be one next year, obviously, for the mare's hurdle, if she stays over hurdled. But Scott took the bull by the horns and went for it. Do you know what I mean? And then I think caught Danny Mullins napping. No, I don't think Danny Mullins would make the same mistake twice. So I'm like, is she bomb proof? Probably not because it's juveniles, but it's just the way. It all depends on how the horses are ridden. Do you know what I mean? But she should win. I know I'm delving too much into it here, but like, do you know, could you trust her so 100%, Lee? I wouldn't anyway, especially juveniles.
Yeah, fair enough. Juvenile and it's a girl, so tentative, but there'll be no price anyway, will she?
No.
Handicap hurdle after this, the 5:30. Ballyadam was in the race, the champion hurdle that could go against State Man. I mean, no, he could for prize money, but then again, I don't think Cheveley Part started there for prize money. But I want Ballyadam to run here. Right? I mentioned when he ran in that race against Gaelic Warrior that I thought he could go well at a big price, and he did run well to come third. He ran a big race at Cheltenham as well. The problem is that Gaelic Warrior race to now, he is up £5, but that could be enough to stop him essentially. But I'm just hoping that because he is up in the weights now, maybe he'll still retain some level of price about him. Because like I say, that run behind Gaelic Warrior was a big enough price, 22s. He was maybe 16s or 20s on the day or a couple of days before at Cheltenham, although he went off at 12-1. I think this little bit extra bit in trip will suit him. You know, we talked about there, they should just keep it as 2 miles. If you're not quick enough, you go to 3 miles. If you don't stay 3 miles, then you're just a bit stuffed, aren't you? This intermediate trip is made for horses like Ballyadam that are tripless, and that's the reason why they are exposed as maybe not being so good. But I do like Ballyadam. I'll be having a few quid in him. It depends where they price him. If he's single figures, I'll leave him alone. Happy to let him go and win. If for any reason we get double figures about him, he'd be a similar one to like Let's Go Champ, where I'd be tempted to get a few quid in, thinking that I can get a free run on him or probably trade him running, because he travelled so well in the county as well. And that race against Gaelic Warrior, I thought it wasn't it was either not the best ride or he wasn't ready that day, because he was in there, but I don't feel like he was asked to do enough. Like, I think if he was there to win, he may have tried to go a little bit sooner. And then I think at Cheltenham as well, like there, he started to make headway and then they just rode him off the back of the last. Not saying they weren't trying at Cheltenham, but I think they got something lined up for him. So anyway, Ballyadam in this race, I'm semi-excited about, as you may have seen. Anything you like in here?
I like 2 in here, Dave. I like this race. I like the winner. I nearly always back the winner of this race. I don't know why. Obviously, the one that I was balls deep in the Carl Cup along with Mr. Carter was an epic song with my dad. My dad backed it as well. And then of course Langer Dan beats us, which is the biggest pain in the arse ever. Comes back out here. Definitely has a chance. But if Charles Burns' horse gets in, it's down to a very, very bottom. It's 9 stone 12. Needs a few to come out and will, because obviously there's a lot of horses being doubly entered.
Yeah.
If Green Glory runs, it will win. But the fact of the matter is, the Brown went absolutely. I've never seen the ground as bad for Lanzarote hurling than I saw this year when West Balboa won. And then it finished 12 lengths behind that. Great run, I thought, at the time, and the amount of what the British handicapper give it. And then all of a sudden now it's back here, and West Balboa is after hacking up in the handicap at Aintree. Oh, I think if Green Glory, I think it's the only entry I've seen for Green Glory all week there. I think if it runs this, I think I'm definitely going to back it anyway. And I think it'll go off a stupid price. To be honest with you, if it's a decent price, get on early. That's just my opinion. And I think it has a right chance. Green Glory.
I like it. Yeah, it will definitely get in because there'll be so many that are coming out that
Yeah.
won't go in there. So there we go. We're putting 2 against it. We'll go for Ballyadam, and I'll piggyback on Green Glory as well. I'll definitely Dutch the pair. Price dependent, but maybe not so much price dependent on Green Glory because you'd back it.
It's definitely going to be
4 to 1 anyway,
smashed. Like when it opens, it's going to be smashed. Yeah.
Happy days. Right, then we've got a another bumper. Is this the first bumper of the week? Oh no, there's just bumpers every other race, isn't there? This is one that I do tend to go through the bumpers. I do tend to go through the breeding. I haven't been so savvy on that this season. There's nothing in here that I've got of any note in my mind. How about you?
Is this the horse that people are raving about there for a while that hasn't been seen? Gigginstown paid 400 grand for it. Croke Park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it. So hopefully it runs. We'll have a look at it. And if it's probably a super price open, and we'll have a look and we'll watch it, Dave, and move on. And let's talk about Grenadine and Jambon.
I'll be laying Croke Park if he goes off a stupid price because he was beaten by Barry the Butcher. I remember when everyone was bumming that horse.
Barry the Butcher, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one.
Right, happy days. What we'll do then, we will talk about Sandown. We've touched about an hour mark. We'll just quickly go through Wrenn one. For people that are watching, if you do have any questions or any fancies for anything at Punchestown, just drop them in the comments and I'll put them up on the screen. We'll go through them. Otherwise, we will just close it off. So tell me how Grenadine, like they're 2 to 1, like joints, isn't they? I know that there was not now, is he? I think John Bond's even shorter, but
5 to 4, 7 to 4 now.
It's I like the sad thing is, right, I know that I'm going to get a price on Grenadine. I'm going to back Grenadine. I don't always like backing shorts of anti-post. I think it's stupid, but I do feel like there's no way Paul Nicholls is going to run him. There's nothing else to save him for, is there? And we know he loves it round Sandown, so I can't see why he doesn't run. The ground won't bother him, like good ground, however quick, however they want it to be. Like he'll be fine. Like as far as I'm concerned, he's going to run. And I'm saying this so much. Watch Grenadine get stone bruise or something. I'm not 100% sure that John Bond will definitely run. Like I think he will, but I'm not sure he's 100% will. So as much as I think I'll get a price on Grenadine, I've had to have 100 quid on Grenadine already at 7 to 4. Can't get the 2 to 1. Just because of the fact that I think I'll probably get the same price, if not bigger, on the day if John Bond runs. But God forbid John Bond does pull out. Grenadine's a 2s on poke, as far as I'm concerned, and I will kick myself for missing the price. So I may have given away a teeny tiny bit of value, but that's the way I see it. So I think Grenadine absolutely bolts at me. The Champion Chase run as well was quite good because they said before that they were just riding him to pick up a place anyway. He wouldn't have been wound up for it there. He made a howler of a mistake. I think it was maybe 4 out. And I backed him each way and put him up for a couple of people as well. And he did nick 3rd. So got the job done there. But this is his stomping ground. And I know we'll say about the Tingle Creek who got beat by Edwardstone and all those bits and pieces. But
it was still a good run behind Edwardstone. Come on.
Yeah, that's what And I know on Racing Post ratings as well this year, like there's not that much between him and John Bond. So I can see it, but I think he wins. Why do you like John Bond so much? Come on, set him.
But I think he was most impressive run. Was that Sandown this year? Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, no, without doubt, that's as good as
we'll all get stuck in anyway. If they both fall, we get stuck into Time Hill and the race after.
that's one that I'm going to have a good bet on as well.
Time Hill would absolutely walk over.
Well, don't go quiet there. Like he's good. Goshen will shit home at Sandown. I'll be having it. I'm having a good bet on Grenadine on Saturday, and I'll be having a good bet on Goshen as well. They're both going to go collect.
Oh God, no!
No, I can't be wrong on both of them.
Time Hill and John Bond for me.
I thought you were joking about Time Hill.
No, Time Hill's declared and everything. Time Hill will beat Goshen. And it's what is it? Is it 2 miles 6?
Time Hill won't beat Goshen.
Yeah, it will.
Jamie, right? We've clearly been talking for too long. If you're saying,
hold on. 2 miles 5. Nappers Hill, no chance. McFabulous, to mind him. Call Me Lord, to mind him. Game Winner got bait. Texar, Time Hill, Theatre Glory. 156 against 154. And he's getting £6 from Goshen. Oh, come on, Dave. Oh, stop. No, come on. Jesus Christ. Time is a good thing.
Like genuinely, I could easily be wrong, but I couldn't. I'm not. John Bond was.
I'm not.
Definitely his most,
Yeah. Is it Dave always says, I'm never wrong.
no, but John Bond definitely his most impressive run was at Sandown this season. So I do get that, but I still just like he's going into open company now, and like when he gets battered by like I don't know, like a Constitution Hill or something. I'm not saying that's like Constitution Hill is obviously an absolute freak of a horse, but it's just I feel like it's an exposure of a horse that's looking good, but he's looking good because he's running novice races, and the 2 mile division, bar the run at Cheltenham when he went against Al Fabiolo, is crap. So while he did go and run well at Cheltenham, he gets beat against.
His run was crap, or the form is crap.
No, his run not saying his run was completely crap at Cheltenham, but his run like at Cheltenham, he gets beat by a good horse, is what I mean. When he comes up against a decent horse, he gets beat, and everything else he's ever run against is crap. He ran against Colonel Mustard at Ascot, and everyone was like, "This horse will win the Supreme." And I know you can't say it in and out, but like, there's no depth or substance to John Bond's form. Even the Calico run at Warwick was so bad. If he does anything like that at Sandown, Grenadine will eat him up, and he is like an established proper horse. I just feel like it's when the youngster that's in a football team goes and plays against his big brother's mates or whatever, he'll get knocked about or whatever it'll be like. He won't do it, and he jumps a bit silly as well. When I saw that schooling video of him at the start of the season, I thought I actually think he is the second coming, and he's never jumped so like as good as he did in that schooling video on a race course. So he was good in that race. It is viable. He could go and win, but he's the wrong price. He should be a 2-1 poke. Grenadine should be 5-4, and then I wouldn't be having a bet. And then Goshen will win, but then Goshen could be too short. Anyway, anything else you fancy? Anything else you need to get off your chest before I press the end broadcast and go and get some sleep?
No, Dave. No, definitely not. But Time Hill will beat Goshen all day long.
We're having a match bet. I'll send you a WhatsApp and we'll get a few quid on and then I'll share it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, mate. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'll see if we can catch up later in the week. Even not for the sake of this, me and you will catch up anyway. And then I said it to Darryl, we'll get you onto a racing soon because you've got plenty to moan about, haven't you?
Oh, I could write a book.
Especially when Time Hill and John Bond both get beat. Right, beautiful. Thank you again for your time, mate. Thank you guys out there for your support. And fingers crossed we make a few quid.
Yes, please like and keep subscribing because he's nearly at 5,000. I wonder why.
Oh yeah, What happens at 5,000 as well? £5,000 bet goes on. It doesn't. Imagine I did. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just have £5,000 on Grenadine on Saturday. Get me to 5,000 subscribers. Right. Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.